All right. Hey everyone, Jamie Broderick, Network Now and White Glove Publicity. And today I am with Debbie Goetz, who is undercover today.
Yes, I'm incognito. I'm really in my pajamas.
Yeah, that's a good excuse.
Yeah.
Debbie Goetz is the owner of Debbie Goetz Media Connections, and she is a rock star with connecting her clients with press, whether it be TV, radio, or print. So you're going to love this interview if you're looking to get attention from the media. So do you want to talk about how to get noticed? Or perhaps the first step is how to build relationships with the media, right?
Okay. Well, the first thing you need to understand is who's relevant for you. Okay. So you need to think about what type of reporter or blogger or media person is going to be the most relevant for you to pitch to. So for example, I'm working with someone who's an expert in a health-related field, so I have been pitching to Allie Gorman at Action News and some of the other health reporters. And
Right.
I'm currently working with Allie on a health segment that's going to air during Sweeps Weeks, which is very exciting in February. So I pitched something to her. I know she focuses on health. I try to keep an eye on what she's already talked about so that I'm not pitching something to her that's old news. So actually, before you think about before you develop those relationships, you need to think about whether or not what you have to talk about is going to be worthwhile. Okay, so you need something that's current, it's relevant, it ties into current events or trends, or it's unique or quirky. And if you think you have that kind of information, then you want to figure out who writes or reports or blogs about it. Okay, and the way to do that is to do research. So you can look at your topic, you can follow people on Twitter, you can read their columns in the newspaper or in online publications. You can find their contact information in a number of ways. You have to be, what's the word? Oh my goodness. Not persistent, but creative, and figure out, sometimes you can find contact information for smaller publications in their masthead. At the end of an article or column, there's often emails, Twitter and handles. You can go to an outlet's website on their contact page. Sometimes I just do a Google search, John Smith's email, and I can find it that way. You can even call an outlet and ask.
Right.
So
let's talk about, I'm going to talk about Twitter a little bit.
Okay.
So you're going to minimize this screen, your Chrome browser, and you're going to make sure you're out of Skype, because that may be the problem.
I am out of Skype.
Definitely closed. The app is completely shut.
Yeah, I logged out.
Did you close the app?
I believe I did, and I'm getting out of.
Okay. Yeah, a lot of people run away from Twitter, but that's where the media is. Maybe Joey wants to either come on or comment in the chat and tell us. Joey Fortman is.
Hi, Joey.
Yeah, girl. She's very busy these days with TV. Off with radio and on to TV. But if you want to get direct access to media, Twitter is an awesome platform to do that. So no luck with your camera, huh?
I just made sure that Skype was closed. I keep Xing out of it, and
okay. So
is Joey calling in?
No. Anyone that does blabs, don't use Skype to test your camera, is the moral of the story.
Okay. Well, I wasn't familiar with the other platform. Sorry about that.
It's okay. It would be really great if we could see your face. It's really hard for me to even have a conversation here. Do you want to completely reboot your computer and I'll just do a little soft shoe and entertain everyone? Yeah, Patty says yes, definitely completely shut your computer down and restart.
Okay, I can do that. Thank
Bye-bye.
you. All right, bye.
Kicking you off. All right, cool. So if Patty or Kristen, any Inner Circle members of Network Now want to jump on camera, I see Joanne and Laura are on too. Or if Joey or anyone from the press wants to come on, please do. Don't leave me here alone. But today we're going to be talking about how to get noticed by the media. What is a newsworthy story? I'm just going to give you a challenge at the end of this blab and have you come up with 3 newsworthy stories that you think may get attention of the media. And then once you have that, how to find them and what to say to them and how to write that press release. So, hello, Patty.
Hi, I'll keep you company for a minute while we're waiting. I wish I could help you.
Awesome. Patty D'Alessio.
Good to see you.
Well, you know, you're probably a great partner for somebody that does media relations, because once they get press and people find them on in print or on TV or radio, they're going to search for them, right?
Yeah.
You're the SEO girl.
Yeah. So I guess I do a lot of work on the other side of that, right? So I have a client who's doing really well. I don't know if you've seen what Kellyanne's been doing, but she was just on Good Morning America last week. And so what I was able to do was take the video of the segment from Good Morning America, put it on the website using Wistia as the video hosting provider, embed that on the page, put a transcript of the whole segment underneath it, and really fully optimize that page for people then after the fact looking for Dr. Kellyanne, Good Morning America, bone broth, some of those ideas. You know, the name of the host was Robin. I forget what her last name is, but on Good Morning America.
I saw the photos.
Yeah. So you know, you can kind of capture that and drive traffic not only to Good Morning America's page or to just the YouTube, but also to your own page, where you can then kind of capture, add to your list, grow your sales, you know, that kind of thing. So that's kind of a after the fact, how to use those assets.
Right.
Right.
Yeah, when we had Natalie Shaw as a guest, she was talking about how, am I echoing again?
You sound good to me.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
She was talking about how she searches before she puts anyone on TV. She will do Google search and see how you appear online, and you have to have a strong foundation for sure in order to for her to consider you.
Yeah.
Joanne is asking Kellyanne who, and I can't even remember her last name because it's just Dr. Kellyanne.
I put her
diet girl.
I put the website there in the browser. She's a good friend. She's a Network Now member. She's kind of local to us here in Bucks County, but yeah, she's terrific. And her book hit the New York Times bestselling list as well just last month. So so she's a client of mine that takes advantage of media. You know, specifically, and has actually worked with Debbie as well. Debbie's worked with Kellyanne. So anyway, that's just a good example.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Making my little GIF here. Cool.
You get to,
yeah.
So anyway, I don't know if I can help you. I'm here trying to keep you company while you wait for Debbie.
Well, are there any newsworthy stories that Patty could come up with for Patty's company, Reinvent Interactive?
For my company, you know, as far as garnering attention, I do, like, you know, a weekly blab. I just got off of my blab. There she is. Hi,
That's Joanne.
How are you?
Hello.
I just got off of my call. Ooh, let's see. Debbie's coming back in. So I do an SEO and IPA call.
No camera, Deb.
Okay.
Thought we saw her.
Nope. That we saw Joanne.
And the cam is on, honey. You see the light on it?
I don't see a light.
What
No.
kind of computer are you using, girl?
It's an HP laptop. I'll try on my desktop.
Okay. Yeah, switch. That's a great idea. Okay.
Yeah.
We'll just,
Just
poor
helping.
girl. What is Network Now? Well, Network Now is an 8-year-old business support network for women entrepreneurs. And we have just recently expanded nationally. So I'm on a 50-state member initiative we kicked off. and we have a big 5 states so far. Got to start somewhere.
I'm going to get you a couple more
Yeah,
in the next few weeks. Yeah.
Yeah. So far, of course, Pennsylvania, which is where the local network now was,
Mm-hmm.
and then New Jersey, then New York, Utah,
California. Uh-huh.
So, you know who we need to call? We need to call Veronica in Hawaii. Get her back here.
Ah,
That's right. That's right. She's awesome.
I can promote her stuff. She sells gorgeous jewelry.
Good.
Yeah. So what Network Now does is we connect you with people and resources. We coach you on marketing and business, and we give you publicity. So whether it's getting you on camera or becoming a speaker or sharing your content on social media, we love to shout about you from the rooftops.
Mm-hmm.
So I also have, I know, 45 to go, right? I also have a publicity company called White Glove Publicity, where I work one-on-one with clients. And right now, Sue Geyer is my client. Oh my God, I think we're good, Debbie. I see something happening.
I see her face.
I'm dancing. Sue Geyer would be happy I'm dancing. She loves dancing. All right, Debbie, your camera is on, but it's covered, it looks like. So maybe you have paper over it or something.
Whoa!
Ooh, I see a window. I see
That's even worse.
We're dark. We need lighting. Oh my God, we're so close. I'm feeling it. I'm feeling it.
Okay, there we go.
Yay!
Yay! Okay, I'm gonna jump out. Bye, ladies.
Bye, Patty.
Bye, Daddy.
We need some light. We need to light up your face, honey.
Yes,
I'm trying.
Debbie.
All right, very good.
Or shut your blinds, one or the other.
The
Bye.
blinds are shut.
Okay. There we go. We can see you now. This is, you gotta love tech. You just gotta roll with it.
Okay.
Not a big deal at all. Think about my big mother-daughter empowerment event. We did like 9 little ones, and then we went to Arcadia University and did this massive one. We had TV people coming in, radio people, hundreds of moms and daughters. Jen Groover was there. That was the first time she worked with us. And a hurricane hits, right? So it's like pouring sideways. Everyone's soaked. One of the keynotes doesn't show up. You just gotta go with it. Everyone loved it. It was a great event. Whatever. So it's all how you react to these things.
Yeah, my son is scheduled to take the SAT subject tests on Saturday because MIT wants to see another set of tests. So it's a little frightening over here. Weather can just be wonderful.
Okay, well, look at you guys. You're just conquering it all. Blabs, tests, college, no worries. All right.
Yeah.
All right, so let's, Joanne, you had any press success, my friend?
Actually, I do. Just last month, we did, with Au Pair Care, we did Operation Christmas Child. And I sent it out to a couple papers, and a colleague of mine sent me the copy. So that was nice because, and where was it? It was in the, I think it was in the books, in the Herald.
Good girl.
So I sent it to a few, but I always send it, if it's a story that's, where we're doing something for the community, I always like to throw it out there and, recognize the in this case, Operation Christmas Child. So, hey, if 1 or 2 picks it up, it's great.
It's awesome. Great.
Yeah.
It's all that insight she gets in the party car.
That's right.
The party car. Yeah, that's awesome. See where it all leads? We go in Debbie's party car. I made you set up Twitter account in that car.
Yes.
Since you have Twitter, you can get on Blab.
Yes.
That's wonderful.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So let's get down to business. Debbie Goetz. Connection.
Yeah, you were talking before about developing relationships.
Yes.
So I was trying to convey that it's important to figure out who the people are that talk, blog, report on, and so forth, the subject that your business or your organization is relevant to. And then once you decide that, then you can find different ways. And Jamie said Twitter's a great way. You can follow what they're talking about. You can engage with them. You can like their posts. You can respond to their posts. And, and develop a relationship that way. And then when you email or call somebody, you'll definitely be a familiar face or a familiar voice to them.
Absolutely.
So I have the benefit of a media database that I can go to for reporters that I don't know, because in my business that's a mainstay. But as I said before, you can read the papers, follow the news online, follow Twitter, and you can get a lot of information just from those different outlets. But you do want to develop relationships with reporters, bloggers, because they will be much more likely to engage in a conversation. So I was talking about Allie Gorman. I've been pitching Allie Gorman for years, different topics. And this is the first one she bid on. And I actually pitched something to her about uncommon New Year's resolutions. And I don't want to discuss what the topic is, but it was uncommon New Year's resolutions. And she actually saw a connection to something that she was already working on for Sweeps Week. So we were able to fit that into something that was already on her agenda. So that worked out really well. And, I know who all the health reporters are, so I know, and I follow them, and I keep an eye on what they are and are not reporting on. And yesterday when I met with her, with my client, I actually said to her, what else are you working on? How can I help you? And, that's an important thing. One of the tips I was going to mention about when you're reaching out to reporters is it's always nice to reach out. If I see a column that somebody writes that I think is particularly interesting or heartwarming or frightening, whatever it is, I'll send a tweet or I'll send an email, or if I have their cell number or text or something, just to say, hey, I read your column, it was awesome. Mike Sealski writes for the Inquirer. He's a sports columnist. And the other day when all the stuff was going on about Chip Kelly's replacement, my husband was just going nuts about what was going on, and he's really disappointed. So I sent Mike a text and, said something about it and what my husband's sentiments were, and, he responded back. And if I didn't have his cell number, I could have done it on Twitter or by email or in some other way on Facebook, which is how I got to know Mike Sealski, was by connecting with him on Facebook after I read his book Fading Echoes, which is about two men who graduated from high schools in Central Bucks and went on to serve their country. They played football against each other. It's a really great book. It's on the reading list in the Central Bucks School District for the high school kids. But anyway, I got to know him on Facebook and connected with him by email a few times, and I taught a class at Del Val this past semester. He actually came in as a special guest and talked to my kids about his book and about being a columnist and how he got his start, all that kind of stuff. So I developed a relationship with him. A perfect example, and Jamie can attest to this, is Brad Siegel at KYW. I met Brad at one of my very first, I don't know if it was a Network Now or a Women's Business Forum event years ago. There was a media panel. Steve Highsmith was part of it. Brad Siegel was a part of it, and some other journalists. And
it was probably the collaborative event that we did, the Ideas Expo, yeah. Both Network Now and Women's Business Forum together. Mm-hmm.
Yep. And I got to know Brad. I started bringing some nonprofits to him for his public affairs show, and then I started pitching things to him for KYW. And he and I became colleagues and really good friends. And the same with Steve Highsmith. He was with PHL 17. He just left and took a job, started last week at Cabrini College. So he's no longer in the TV biz. But again, I cultivated a relationship with Steve, whether it was through Facebook, through email, through booking people on his public affairs program. And,
There we go. All right.
That was weird. So yeah. Both of them knew that I brought good stories and good pitch topics and good guests.
That's great.
So.
And you went off air there for a second.
I know. I don't know what happened. That was weird.
Well, good.
Okay.
It's about relationships, right? So what I do for my publicity clients is different based on their needs. Some of them want media, some don't. And the ability to just give access to my clients is just wonderful and so much fun. Call Tracy Davidson, hey, will you have lunch with my client? And then wear her jewelry on camera. And they're like, yeah, sure. It's like, That is so awesome. I love it. But it's all about building the relationship first. You can't be asking for things without doing something for them. No matter who they are and where they're at, even if they're way up here, and you're starting, there's always something you can do to help them, whether it's share their tweets or share their Facebook posts or support their passion charity. Tracy Love is all about Phil Abundance, squashing hunger in Philadelphia. So help her with that cause, or connect her with somebody. Anything you can think of that would help them, and how do you figure out what they need? You listen and pay attention, just like Debbie is talking about. So by listening and paying attention, you find out what they need and how you can help, and you also figure out who their audience is, what kind of content they need. So I think one of the peeves that they talked about is that people don't watch their show and then they make a pitch and it doesn't fit at all with their audience because they want content, but it has to be the right content, right?
And it has to be relevant. Yeah. Relevancy.
They want to know about your products. They want to know about your story and how it would be interesting to their audience.
By the way, Jamie, Allie Gorman knows who you are because she was talking about your Black Friday deals. Actually, it was her the camera guy, Jason. And Allie, so Allie and Jason, we were talking about you yesterday about your Black Friday deals.
Okay, cool. You know how I know Jason?
He lives in Warrington, but how do you know him?
Yeah, Jason's the camera guy, so he does the Black Friday deal for the channel every November. And the Network Now members and clients get to go on it, as well as other people that are in on that relationship. But I met him because he was shooting some film in Rittenhouse Square. And
yes, he did tell me that.
So I'm one of the, you have to just have some balls and just go for it. So I just went up to him and I said, "What are you filming? How are you? I'm Jamie. Who are you? What, you like your job?" Like, I just started talking to him. And we kept in touch. As soon as I get home with meeting anybody, connect online on social media, follow up, and keep in touch and help them however they can. Yeah. So when he reached out and said, "Hey, I'm doing this Black Friday thing," I'm like, "Do you have anyone that wants to be on it?" I'm like, "Yeah, I know a few people." So,
so that's how that happened. That's awesome.
Isn't that funny?
It didn't I didn't realize it came from the camera guy. I just assumed it came from Nydia or Alicia.
It was like a warm, hot day in March or something, so they're like filming people walking around without coats. It's not very exciting, but I was like, I'm on this.
But you never know.
Anyway, okay. So why don't we talk about how to reach out?
Okay. So I talked before about knowing the reporter and knowing the publication, the outlet, before you try to reach out, before you pick up the phone or send an email. You also need to know how they like to be contacted. And sometimes you don't know unless you ask. So you might reach out to them on Facebook or Twitter, or send an email and say, "I have a pitch, I have a story idea, I have an idea for a column," or whatever the case may be, and ask them what the best way is to send you some information, So it never hurts to ask. You want to clarify your message before you send it. So make sure that you have a clear, concise, interesting, relevant, all the things I said before, or quirky thing to pitch to them. And one of the things I try to do, especially like right now working with Allie, is when I send a pitch, I try to package it. So if I can say to Allie, and I did this yesterday, I have a client that's in the addiction recovery business, and it's challenging in the health field sometimes to get somebody to go with the story. So the story she's working on now, she's working with a therapist and she's working with a client to pull this segment together. So for addiction recovery, she's interested, but I'd have to come up not only with the owner of the Addiction Recovery Center, who's my client, but they'd want somebody who's gone through the addiction recovery program there. Not so easy, whether it's HIPAA or just privacy, people are not always willing to come forward. So that's something I need to discuss with that client to see if they can come up with somebody. I know I booked a few radio interviews for them, and they did not seem inclined to do that. So we'll have to see, because Allie would definitely be interested.
Yeah, they want the story, right?
But it's not compelling just to talk to the counselor that treats people or the owner of the addiction recovery center, they want to put a human feel on that story. They need to understand what it felt like to be that person going through that. Without having somebody to interview about it, it's just not going to be as compelling for the viewers. So,
yeah, much more powerful. Nonprofits use that compelling, heartwarming story as well to raise money. Just like the media would want something that's catchy as an angle. But if you have doing a fundraiser and you put somebody that's benefited from these funds from the charity up on the podium and they talk about their struggles and where they started and how the charity helped them, people are I watched Bucks County Housing Group do this. People were throwing $1,000 bills at them. It was unbelievable to watch.
Right. And I do that when I book people on the public affairs programs, like on Brad's program. I'll make sure that I've got the executive director and somebody that has benefited from the services of the organization.
Very good.
Much more relevant.
Yeah. So what about if you're not pitching TV or radio? What if you're just trying to get in print, either newspaper, remember those, or magazine?
Yeah, and I do a lot of that. So again, when you contact somebody, you want to introduce yourself. If you have been following them and you know some things that they've written about in the past, for example, the other day Harold Brubaker wrote an article about addiction recovery. So I might follow up with him in a couple of months and say, I read with great interest your article on, in January about addiction recovery and whatever the angle was of that article. And, if you'd like to do a follow-up and then, talk to him about how, my client might be able to help him out with a piece about some other matter related to addiction recovery. But you want to introduce yourself. If you can reference a previous time that you've connected, maybe on a social media network, or another article or column that they've written that shows that it demonstrates that that you're familiar with them and that you know what they write about.
Right.
So if you can jog their memory, that's always good. And always, if you call on the phone, ask if it's a good time to talk. And it doesn't go just for media people. Nothing irks me more than when somebody calls me out of the clear blue and just starts rattling off what they want to say without saying, hey, is this a good time? So it's especially important with media people because you're looking to get something out of them, like Jamie said before. So you want to make sure that if you are calling them on the phone, that it's a good time. And it's not always easy to know with certain publications. They put the publication to bed on a certain day. They're, on deadline trying to get it ready. There's, it's crazy, whether it's a daily or a weekly. If you call a news desk in the middle of a newscast, not really a good idea. Unless you have some kind of breaking news, that's not the greatest thing to do. They have morning meetings, they have afternoon meetings. You want to try to get to them before those meetings to pitch story ideas for that day. So introduce yourself, reference other connections you may have had or other work of theirs that you've seen, and make sure it's a good time for someone to talk. And then, as we talked about before, it's about helping them too. You don't want it to always be like you're asking them for something. So if you have a way to, if you can ask them what they're working on, like I did with Allie yesterday, what else are you working on? I know a lot of people. It's exactly what I said to her. I'd love to be able to help you, with other things that you're working on. So she was telling me some other things that she's working on, that she's having trouble getting the person, who experienced the situation. And so it was very frustrating because she had already started filming stuff and then somebody backed out, and it's not an easy person to land. So, ask me how you can help.
Right. Become a source. That's the win for you, your clients, and for the media. It's great.
Right. Become a source. Become not just a source yourself for them, but a source of other people. So sometimes I'll get a call from somebody at the Courier Times or the Intelligencer because they know I know a lot of people and they know that I have connections with people in a lot of different industries. So they were doing something about the school district a year or two ago, and they contacted me. They needed to interview somebody, and they did. And so being a source is good, and being a source of other sources is is also good. Being able to assist them when it doesn't benefit you, that's definitely a good thing to do. And eventually they'll come to you, like they come to Jamie or they come to me with, story opportunities where they're looking for people to interview. And another thing you want to do is if you're pitching stuff, you want to make sure that you can deliver on whatever you're pitching. So you don't want to make promises that you can't keep. So I don't want to say to Allie, oh yeah, I've got the therapist and I've got someone who's helped if I don't actually have that. Right. So I made sure that, we had that lined up and we had that deal sealed.
Yeah, and be media ready. Because right. if that station calls you and wants you on camera that night, you better get in your car and show up or you're not going to be asked again.
Exactly.
Keep that hair colored. Oh, yeah, right. Ready to go.
And if sometimes things happen, things fall through. If I had a guest and at the last minute it fell through, or you got to let them know as soon as possible, because if they've got that segment planned and mapped out for a certain newscast, they have to be, or a certain day on the radio, or a certain issue of the paper, they've got to be able to find somebody else. So you want to let them know as soon as possible. So be prepared, give them the heads they need to talk to or interview. And you also want to follow up with reporters. You don't want to be a stalker, but you can be tenacious, you can be persistent, you can be assertive without being a stalker. I usually email first, I follow up by phone, or if I reach out on social media first, I'll follow up with an email or a call. And sometimes it's just more compelling if you can get them on the phone to give them your story or your little pitch on the phone. And like Jamie said, you have to be prepared and ready. So if they need photos, if they need video, if they need an opportunity to take photos or video, you want to be able to provide that. Okay, so make sure that you can get all that information for them. Especially for radio, it's just a voice. And for the online story, they'll have a photo, so you want to be able to provide that. But it's not as important to have photo or video for radio as it would be, say, for print to have photos, or for TV to have an opportunity for video. Right. So I did something for, let's just call it a business organization in the area, recently, where there was a very prominent speaker coming who had not spoken publicly before. He had representatives from the organization speak, and I did the media relations for this event, got all the TV stations there and KYW and all the newspapers there, did my job.
Right.
And then when we all arrived, we're told that the gentleman did not want his remarks recorded.
What?
Yeah. So we were told that all of them would have an opportunity to interview, and this is where diplomacy comes in, and tact, where I could be an ambassador now. But yeah, we were told when he arrived that he didn't want his remarks recorded. So I put my, my media management hat on and found a way to make everybody happy. But I had irate cameramen from some of the TV crews, and I had...
We have other places to be.
Wow. They have other places to be. So, I had to be really diplomatic and figure out what we could do to make it work for everybody, so that the speaker was not pissed off, so that the cameramen got what they needed and what their assignment editors were promised by my firm. And, because otherwise it made me look really bad to the news outlets for not delivering on what I promised them. Yeah. And it made the organization look bad. And so at the end, and they actually one of them sent a reporter out. So I had a reporter there with a camera guy. So it was crazy. But I managed to calm the natives and pull it together. Yeah. And it all worked out great. And it was on all the news shows that night, and it was fine. But
way to handle the crisis, girl.
Yeah. So, but I could see right then and there, the organization's people didn't really get it. And that's part of their issues. They don't really get media relations very well. And, they went so far as to say, well, why don't you have lunch with us, to the cameramen, because they don't have better things to do than sit and have lunch. Yeah, and I'm like, oh my
That's
God.
their typical day. They like
Yes.
run. Do you remember we were at that conference where it was Lynn Doyle, Jen Fred, Louanne Kahn, and Jen Groover? You were there. Sponsor, I think.
At the Wellness Center.
Yeah. And Fox News shows up. So this cameraman literally sprinted into the conference room, threw a Fox microphone on the podium while I'm standing there ready to launch the next piece. It was like, and then took off at the top of the auditorium and starts filming. I was like, okay, we're going to be on the news. Like,
thank you, Jen Fred.
They operate. It's like they fly in, take a couple minutes of film, and they fly out to the next thing. So they don't have to have lunch, you know.
Right, exactly. So anyway, that ties into making sure you can deliver on what you promise.
Oh my God.
Because there's nothing worse to them than sending a crew all the way from Bala Cynwyd or from Center City all the way out here, you know, to Bucks or Montgomery County and not getting what they were promised. So whether it's something like that, or whether it's photos, or you know, interviews with key people involved in the event or the story or whatever.
Right. You know, just as in a little aside, if you are somebody that manages clients like yourself, Debbie Goetz, or somebody that is a speaker or does your own press releases, keep your headshot, your bio, any video sizzle reels in Dropbox. So they're easily accessible from anywhere, from any device. So you don't have to go home to go get your bio to send to someone. Have them online on Dropbox.com. And you also could just share that folder with whoever needs it instantly. So then, yeah, all of us, the event planner gets your headshot and your bio, and they are super happy and moving on to the next thing, rather than figuring out, where is it?
Right.
Do I even have a headshot?
Right.
Where is it? Attaching it to an email. Oh, yeah. It could go on. So, yeah, it's super professional just to have it ready at any minute. Okay. Sorry. Digressed. But, yeah.
It's okay.
You know, it was all about the SmackDown. We were talking about systems during that SmackDown. That was one of the things with Dropbox. Kristen Smedley, who I'm not sure is still on or not.
Hi, Kristen.
She, you know, it's hard to get, like we were saying, hard to get attention from nonprofits unless they get some juicy story connected to it. But are there any tips on, let's just talk about the tactics of a press release, okay?
Okay.
The one thing that we know, because we submit these, you and I, is that you don't attach it anymore because of viruses and things. You actually put it in
the body of your email.
Right?
Yeah, and you need to have a catchy subject, something that's going to get somebody's attention. So, for example, when Brad Siegel left the Suburban Bureau, he's an anchor now at KYW, Jim Melwart took over. Jim Melwart is really into the quirky. So if you have something quirky, make sure that in the subject line he sees something quirky, because otherwise he gets hundreds of emails every day and it's going to get deleted. So unique and quirky. The addiction recovery program that I mentioned before, they are a unique program. They're a unique treatment alternative that lets people live their life while they're seeking treatment. They don't have to go inpatient. So that was something unique and different. He was interested in that. When I did PR last year for the United States Association of Collegiate Fencing Clubs, fencing is unique and different. So Jim was all over that. So yeah, you need to catch their attention. You don't have a lot of time to do that, a lot of space to do that. So you want to have a catchy subject line, and then your heading and your lead and your press release have to be catchy. You need to grab their attention so that they're going to want to read more. Right.
And the easier you can make it, the better. So I'm just thinking about Jen Groover, probably been on Fox dozens and dozens of times with Jen Fred, because she makes it so easy. When she sends her pitch, she literally outlines the entire segment. Jen Frederick's segments are 2 minutes at 1 hour, 2 minutes at the next hour, and 2 minutes at the next hour on site.
Right.
So if you're like renovating a room, she starts with the before and then the during and then the after, perhaps. So you have it literally bulleted out on what your suggestion is on how this. So it's super easy. So when she goes in her meeting, she can just say to the producer, "What do you think about this? We could do blah blah blah." It's like
that's what I was referring to before when I said about packaging it.
Right.
Yeah.
But don't tell them what questions to ask you in an interview. That's annoying.
No.
They know what to do. They know what questions need to be asked.
Now, although I will tell you that you don't want to tell them what questions to ask, but being in the position that I'm in, where somebody that I send to be, I have somebody being interviewed, I was able to say to Allie, can we try to make sure, please, that the focus is not on the fact that this person needed help as much as this. Here's a successful business person who, has chosen to do this, or this to make their personal and business life better. So I was able to do that, and she was responsive to that. And I actually even offered her questions. I gave her additional questions yesterday, and she was really happy. She's like, oh, I didn't think of that. Because she was focused on one angle, and, I helped her embellish a little bit.
Oh, absolutely. You just don't want to literally write questions like, what is blah? Why do you, they know how.
It's funny because sometimes when I've had people, it's usually new clients, when I've had them on, like on a public affairs program, I'll say, send me some talking points. And some people have sent me the questions and their answers. And sometimes I just send that to Brad for poops and giggles. But anyway, yeah, talking points are talking points, a couple of bullets.
Right.
Yeah. But yeah, the more you can, the better you can package it. You don't want to tell them how to do their job, but if you can offer them a couple of different story angles for what you're pitching, or a couple of different ways that they can frame it out, they definitely do like that. And especially, like I said earlier, if you have a talking head to help make it more compelling to their audience. And Kristen's on. Hi, Kristen.
Kristen, if you want to come on, girl, you can. On camera.
Yeah, she wants
one thing you should micromanage, though, is if you want your website or your contact information put on, what do they call that, bottom third of the screen?
The Chiron.
You need to specifically discuss that and see if they would do it. Don't just assume that they're going to do that and then be disappointed. So.
Yeah, they don't always do what you want them to do, and that's part of the issue when you have public relations, media relations. Here she comes. Versus paid advertising.
Hey, Kristen.
Hello. You don't have control over how they deliver the message. Sometimes you don't have control over the message. You can provide all the information you want, and they may not deliver it exactly the way you would have liked them to. So
even if it's a word-for-word print article. I was interviewed for an article about Neen James years ago, and Gina Rubel had suggested me as a resource. So I said, I think my quote was, she provides actionable strategies. And what they printed was actual strategies.
Oh my God.
Was like, you didn't say that, did you? I was like, no. It's funny. How are you, Kristen Smedley of Curing Retinal Blindness Foundation.com?
Well, let's see. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Oh my God, I can't believe my new iPad is working. My family got me a new iPad. I did not need one, but I love them dearly, and now I have had to add all of my old stuff to it. So, okay, good. I'm glad it's working. How are you guys?
Yeah, so can I answer your question, Kristen?
Please
Kristen asked if you send your stuff to reporters or producers or editors. And the answer is it depends. So, for example, Allie Gorman's the reporter, but she has a producer. Her name is Dawn, and I usually send things to both of them because something might, it might be something that Dawn glances over, but Allie might say, hey, I think I can tie that into this segment that we're doing. So in that case, I send it to both of them. When it comes to the radio, for example, like Jim Elwert, I'll send it directly to him if it's something in the suburbs. If it's something that is more like community focused, I'll send it to him and to Cherry Gregg, who's their community affairs reporter. And if I'm not sending it to Jim, I usually send it to the reporter who covers that particular topic, and I'll send it to Dee Patel, who is the news editor. When it comes to stuff in print, I send, if it's something like a small business focused thing, I'll send it directly to the columnist or the reporter. If it's something that's a little more general and I don't know who would cover it, I'll send it to the editor and I'll say, I'm not sure which one of your reporters or columnists this would be a great fit for, but what do you think? And, so the answer is it depends. And for TV stuff, I usually send to the assignment editors unless it's something that I know a particular reporter or anchor has an interest or passion for. Okay.
I would say send it to anyone that you think would find it valuable for themselves. Because I remember when we did we used to do the holiday trunk show fundraisers with 95.7 at the Bucks County Children's Museum. Mm-hmm. And we sent the press release about the event beforehand, about 8 intelligencer reporters, but did not send it to the 9th. And the 9th one found out about it and showed up and covered it, but she was mad. She hadn't been included. She wanted the story. So, yeah. At least we got covered.
You don't want to just send it to anyone and everyone. You know, you need to figure out who the people are that are interested in what it is you have to share. Absolutely. And you want to make sure that you send it to them with a compelling pitch for why they should want to do more. Here's an example. Tom Averill, who writes for the Inquirer, he's hearing impaired. And we pitched a story to him about a new technology it's a looping technology that allows people who are hearing impaired, who are hearing aids, or who have cochlear implants, to, if a facility is looped, they can hear everything better. So we were actually able to provide him not only with the owners of the company, but one of the people that works for them is hearing impaired. And the church that his daughter was getting married in got looped, and he was actually able to hear his daughter get married. Wow. And he wouldn't have been otherwise. That was one example. I think we used that for the Intelligencer and the Courier Times. But for the Inquirer, I think Tom interviewed 2 young boys who were hearing impaired, and they were having their bar mitzvah. And for the bar mitzvah project, their service project, they raised money to get the synagogue looped. And so I think that was Tom's angle for the Inquirer. I know we shared that story in multiple outlets with different. But yeah, so one angle was a guy who ended up coming to work for the company because he really believed what they did and how it changed his life and made him be able to hear his daughter get married. And the other one was the kids who saw the value in having their sanctuary looped so that they could hear.
Do you have another example of how you can take a story and pitch it different ways? Anything come to mind, just like you did, different angles of the story? So, like the one that got picked up by the Associated Press, was that always the same angle, the survivor and the rescuer from the Holocaust?
That was the same, yeah. And let me think. You should have told me this one ahead of time. I would have figured it out.
Sorry, I'm just thinking of it now. But that's
darn you, Jamie.
We would like everybody to come up with 3 newsworthy hooks or angles that they think might get the attention of the press. So sometimes it could be the same nugget, but just presented different ways. So, for instance, like an event that is multi-layered, could be the headliner coming to our area is the pitch, because perhaps they work for that media outlet. Another pitch could be of the content and how it's, it could be an interesting subject, or it could be a milestone of some sort, or it could be the location, or it could be a collaboration. That's the newsworthy piece. There's lots of different ways to look at things.
I have an idea. So years ago, when we still had the 10 show, I was trying to get Ellen Lindemann on the 10 show. And for those of you who don't know, Ellen she started a nonprofit called the Ted Lindemann Outreach Foundation that helps families that have lost a parent and raising young children. And so Jamie, who was the segment producer at the time, well, the talent booker, I should say, I pitched her a couple of different angles to Ellen's story. So one of the angles was about survival, like how to survive the death of a spouse. Another one was about, I'm trying to remember. I just remember that I provided 3. Another one might have been related to counseling and, how to navigate it with your children, things of that nature. And what they actually ended up grabbing was the how to survive the loss of a spouse. And they actually had Ellen explaining, how many copies of the death certificate you needed, like all the things that you would need to know if that were your situation. But she went for the practical angle. I was trying to pitch it as more of a human interest thing.
Right, because the one I would pick, because I like heartwarming things, the story pitch I would take would be have the community reached out, raised money for her.
That was one of the things, yeah.
So grateful, turned it into this nonprofit to help other people in the same situation.
Thank you for jogging my memory. That was one of the things, yes. It was that. I think it was like how to deal with your children with grief, and the other one was like how to survive the loss of a spouse. And that's the one that they picked up on. So another thing I want to just throw in here, I love my friends at Fox 29. They're wonderful, and they've been very good to me and to my clients over the years. But you have to know the outlets. So my first person that I sent to Fox 29 had a very unusual last name. And I had her booked on there to talk about an upcoming event. It was a fundraiser. They had a keynote speaker that was very prominent in this field. And they basically spent part of the segment making fun of her last name. And yeah, and she did eventually get to talk about what she needed to talk about, but you need to know that they're entertainers. So now when I go to Fox 29, and again, I love Good Day, and it's the only one we have left, really.
I'm not surprised.
You have to know that they're entertainers. So what do I go to them with now? I go to them with the Surviving the Doghouse, the guys that came up with this survival kit for men who find themselves in the doghouse. I went to them with the fencing. I've gone to them, with things that are not quite as serious in nature, and I go to other outlets for things that are a little more serious. And they do delve into serious things, but you just have to know your outlet and know that, when you bring in a guest in there and they're really cute, that one of the hosts might say, "Here, come sit on my lap." That kind of thing. So you really want to make sure that, you're bringing in people that, A, can deal with that, if in fact they do want that exposure on that particular platform, and that you don't bring in a topic that, if they start to joke around, is going to seem indelicate or inappropriate or whatever. So
right.
It's just a lighter atmosphere there. So you do want to be really careful about that.
Yeah. Kristen, do you have any specific questions about getting the attention of the press?
Well, we have an event coming up, and my tricky part is we don't know yet if our big entertainer, he actually happened to have had blindness cured. And we do have the company that did that coming, but we don't know yet if we're still going to be under wraps of clinical trial to be able to say that this kid had this done or not. So that would be a no-brainer, to be able to get headlines for that. So now we're trying to go around that of, okay, well, what else can we say? We do have folks from the Miss America organization. So this is a quirky one, I guess. The Miss America organization folks are coming. They come to our events a lot. They support us a lot. But I wanted them, since their whole thing is service. They're a service organization, so they're coming to be our volunteers.
Oh, cool.
I think it's great, and it's a Denim and Diamonds theme, so it goes in perfectly. And they're super nice girls. So I think it's actually, talk about quirky, the Miss America folks are very supportive of our blind children. Is that funny? And I did a blog on it last year about, I thought it was this big oxymoron that here are my blind sons know whether they're genuine or not based on how they interact with them. You know, it has nothing to do with how they look. So then I thought, okay, do I resurface that blog and that angle? You know, not knowing if we can say that our entertainer is who he is just yet. So is that a quirk? Is that what you mean by quirky and different? Is that enough, I guess?
I wouldn't say it's quirky. It's different, and what are you trying to get from the media coverage?
The
exposure and
you want butts.
My problem is that I've
seats, or you want sponsors, or you want just traffic to your site.
By the time the media would cover it, it would be very close to it. I know that they do stuff very close to events, so that would be the final push to get people there. And then we've never actually had the media at the event. That's the other thing that I think is wonderful for when people remember the event, that they remember it on the map for the media was there. Now, we did have a ginormous crowd all these years without all of that, but I think it's time to start getting that involved. And I learned that they don't just go on a really great story, because our whole thing is a really great story, but they want more than that. Especially what I'm finding is the Philadelphia News likes to have a little bit of a sadness element, a little bit of a tragic element to it.
Well, if you were able to say that, I'm sorry, Jane.
What's the date of the event and where is it? Or how do they find it? People are asking.
So it's April 1st, which we keep saying we're not fooling. It's April 1st. It's Cocktails for the Cure, and it's at crb1.org/cocktails. And it really is just a huge cocktail party where we have entertainment out the wazoo, and like I said, the company's coming that is curing blindness. They're based in Philadelphia, so we're trying to get a lot of Philadelphia media there to understand that this is all happening now. And we should be going to clinical trial next year.
So, and we talked about this last week, and I know I have to follow up with you. I think that the idea would be to get somebody interested in talking about the organization and your boys and all the great things they've accomplished, and get the event mentioned. Like, the highlight of the article would not be the event as much as it would be your story and their story and the story of this person. If you had, if all of your musicians or a bunch of your musicians were all visually impaired, I think that would be interesting, like, to the media. Do you know what I mean? That might be, it's not, to me, I wouldn't call that quirky. I would just call that unique. So that might be a hook, you know, that this event is for this cause, and the entertainers there, or a number of the entertainers themselves, are visually impaired. Like, that might be a hook to get them to come out with a TV camera. Just to come out to the event itself, if one of their people is not hosting or emceeing, you know, might be more challenging.
I'm wondering if the Miss America volunteers, are they winners? Are they contestants?
Yes, it's the current Miss Pennsylvania, the current Pennsylvania teen, and they're working on a few others. Okay. Former Miss Philadelphia.
I would, so they probably have a decent following on social media.
Okay. Oh, that's good.
So how about a little visual, since it's like visual for the Miss Americans, but it also ties in with the non-visual of your whole foundation. So you get lots of awesome photos of them, like denim and diamonds, ahead of time, and posting them on Instagram and Facebook, Twitter, with links to the event page. It could be a really fun little photo campaign you got going on there with them as models.
That's a great idea. Okay, perfect.
Yeah, and I mean, I would certainly mention them in press materials that they're going to be there, especially if they're going to be there in a service capacity, like you were hoping. But I think that your entertainer would be a bigger hook.
Yeah.
And, you know, if your son performs, you know, if you have a number of visually impaired performers, I think that would be something that they would be more likely to jump at.
And at what point does the media get tired of you? Do they? Because I send stuff to them all the time, and we do get. I mean, we've gotten a lot of coverage, but I often wonder if it's just, are they like, oh dear God, here she comes again?
Well, when you say you send a lot of stuff, like what are you sending and how often?
No, it's just for our 2 events, our cocktail event, and then in the fall we do a kids bike event, and almost always we'll have coverage right before it.
Right.
But is
Yeah.
that a lot?
No.
I don't know what's a lot. No.
I don't think so. Twice a year, I don't think that's a big deal.
They don't have my picture on the wall.
No, they don't have your
Medley again.
I'll have to find out next time, Jamie and I head down to the news station. We'll find out. But I'm looking at the comments on the side here, Jamie. Are you watching the comments?
No, I was actually doing a little research. I was trying to figure out if there's any media. I'm sorry, Gabe, I can't put you on because we only allow the Inner Circle members of Network Now or media to come on because it's kind of one of the perks of being a Network Now top member, and it's also for prevention of. Once we opened a chair up and we found a man in bed in Pakistan.
Oh my God!
No more. Okay, so this is not Periscope. You want that? Go there. Yeah. Anyway,
Oh my gosh.
so what I was doing was I was trying to see if there was any Philadelphia media that was somehow associated with the Miss America pageant. That would be a good tie-in.
Oh yeah.
Maybe
What station does it air on? Like if it airs on NBC or ABC?
Exactly. Get them connect someone that has a connection to Miss America, whether it's media or a celebrity, like Vanessa Williams. Anyone know her? We can. She was the one that had to give up her crown. Remember that whole deal? I don't know. Maybe she has a passion for curing blindness. Who knows? You have to kind of dig in and see how you can connect it, get your way there. You know what I mean?
Good idea. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Google is your friend. What is Joanne saying? I attended the event you remember that man? Huh.
She said she must have been on that blab. I was looking further up, Durham Skywriter, where it says, I have found that most people aren't really ready for the media. Nowadays, you have to go beyond writing press releases. Many believe that Facebook posts equals publicity, and they're actually scared of doing on-air and online interviews. Well, that's where media training comes into place. And I do have, I have a few tips here that I have prepared for this.
Go for it.
Can we go to that? Okay.
Yeah, media training. Do it.
Well, just how to prepare for an interview. So one of the things I did with Allie to get the person ready for the interview yesterday, and actually it's going on now, is to try to get a sense ahead of time of what she's going to ask. And for this particular situation, she was open to providing those questions. And so I sat down yesterday and kind of rehearsed with the person who was being interviewed, just to make sure they were comfortable. You want to speak in sound bites wherever you can, especially if it's for a radio interview or a TV interview. And a sound bite is, a brief, compelling statement of what it is that you're being interviewed about. You don't want to go on and on. I had a situation with a client that was on Good Day, and God bless Quincy Harris. The person was going on, and he managed to cut him off when he needed to, but you need to talk in manageable, small bites, and if they want you to elaborate, they'll ask you additional follow-up questions.
Yeah, more than yes or no, but not
a paragraph.
The mouth. Yeah.
Right. And then, so for radio, sound bites are key because a radio story is going to be 30 to 45 seconds. So they're going to interview you for 10 minutes, and they're going to pull some quote out of there. So you definitely want to talk in 10-word sentences or small bites that are going to help them deliver their story and share your part of it. For TV, the stories are usually short. You want to keep that short as well. And while we're on the subject of TV, you want to make sure that you dress for success, look your best. And generally speaking, they prefer that you wear solid colors. So when you're doing a TV interview, you want to dress in a solid color. And, do your homework about what that show is about or what that reporter is about. Don't be afraid to ask questions. I mean, that's what I'm here for. I'm that middle person, that can ask the producer or the assignment editor. Be sure to say thank you. whether it's to a reporter or to, you know, a station, an editor, it doesn't matter. Send a note, a card, a shout out on social media. Show your gratitude. Kristen, if you've gotten mentions in the past, make sure you show your gratitude because, you know, it's not that they're not going to cover you if you don't, but I think people tend to remember when they're appreciated. So, you know, you're not going to be able to tell, like we said before, you're not going to be able to tell a reporter or journalist what to ask you, but you can make suggestions of additional information that you think is relevant, or you might be able to say, you know, you might want to talk to this person because this person had a similar experience. I had a situation with a horrendous airport parking debacle, and I went to Nydia Hahn with it. And Nydia Hahn was interested, and I found her someone else who had had a similar experience. So it helped her frame her story, and it gave her two people to interview that had had a similar experience. And then, you know, she put her investigative team to work to go and see if they could experience it too. And, you know, it helps her frame her story. So
exciting. I remember that.
Don't mess with me. And don't mess with my schmoopies. Don't mess with my children, and don't mess with me and my clients. So I think Central Bucks School District is a little afraid of me, but you know, whatever. It's okay.
All right, so let's assume everyone's getting their coverage. They're getting radio segments and TV segments, and they're rocking and rolling on in the printed press. How do they leverage it? I know the answer, but I'll ask you.
How do they leverage it? Okay, so you want to leverage it on your company or your organization's website. If you can set up, if you're getting multiple successes, you want to set up a media page on or a news page on your website. You want to leverage it on all of your social media platforms. You know, share it. If you have Instagram, take pictures or share pictures. If you don't already have some type of media kit or press kit, like Jamie was talking about it at the very beginning of the conversation, to have certain materials available in Dropbox to share, it's good to have a press kit that has a one sheet about you or your organization, examples of coverage you've gotten in the past, background information, photographs, things of that nature that can be shared if there's a video clip or a sizzle reel, as Jamie mentioned earlier, because if a reporter wants to learn more about you, they're going to go and look for that information. So you want to have a nice media package, and if anybody that's on the conversation is an author, you know, it's great. It's a great thing to have. If you want to look at a really good example of a media kit, go to thetcancompany.com.
All right.
I helped Donna McCafferty develop a media kit for her business, and she happens to be an artist, so it's particularly beautiful, but it's got all the elements in there. For her business, she needed to have products and services, contact information, photographs, background, your mission, and, you know, feel free to reach out to me if you need help putting that together, but that's a good thing. And you can leverage all of your news coverage in your media kit as well.
Yeah, that's excellent. Specifically to LinkedIn, there's a section called Publications where you can list all of your media coverage as long as you give the reporter credit. And you can also blog about the experience.
Right.
And of course, tag everyone involved. Yeah, it's good.
And again, whenever I get news coverage for one of my clients, I am out there on Facebook and Twitter, you know, sharing the link and thanking the outlet or the reporter or the journalist. So that gets it out there too.
All right. I know you're very good with gifts for the media, right?
Me?
Say thank you. Gifts. Like we brought cupcakes once when we went to visit.
You know what? It depends on the situation. So reporters are not supposed to take gifts.
You can bring food for the station or...
Yes, when we've gone to the radio station or to the TV station, we brought snacks or treats or something like that.
Right.
Sometimes if I'm making my holiday peppermint bark, I'll ship some or I'll drop some off at the news stations.
Yeah.
But generally speaking, you know, if they're writing about you or doing a story or something like that, you don't do a gift for that. I think a thank you card, a personal note is adequate. It's different when we go and Tracy takes us around the station at NBC 10, or, you know, when Lorraine takes us around at Clear Channel, or Marilyn comes and meets us for lunch. You know, that's one of them doing us a special favor.
Exactly.
So, you know, that's a little different, and I know some of us have brought little gifts for Tracy, or brought, you know, we all treated Marilyn to lunch or brought something. And the cupcakes for Action News, man, they really like that. Well,
the reason, you know, John Ralston is on, he's saying, I don't need cupcake. But we did cupcakes because we had the Lucky Cupcake Company as a member of Network Now, and, you know, we got to figure out how to give publicity to any member at any time. So, of course, we're going to bring her cupcakes. Yeah, I think she did little ABC things on the cupcakes. That was cute.
She put the logo on there. She put the logo on there, and it was very, very, very popular. And it was very funny because someone came out and said to us when we were standing in the lobby, who brought the cupcakes, and we were worried that maybe it was security, wondering like that somebody had dropped off, you know, tainted food for the news crew or something. You know, one of the other news stations was dropping off poison food. And it turned out it was one of the executive producers. And that man went back like 4 times for cupcakes, and when we went by his desk, it was loaded. So yeah, we were very popular.
Yeah. So we have a person on who's saying we don't necessarily want gifts. We want guests who can provide great information and hold our audience. Right. So yes, content and how can you help the reporter? Absolutely.
Right.
Totally agree.
And just a shout out to John from Cats, who has a public affairs program called Bucksmart Live on WMPV at 1440 AM, who interviews guests for Jamie and for me and some of my other colleagues. He has a big heart for nonprofits. So, Kristen, we need to get you in.
Cool. You're singing my song.
Kristen.
Yeah, John, you need to know Kristen. She's doing amazing work.
Yep.
She has 2 sons who are blind, and so she has created a foundation called Curing Retinal Blindness. So, quite a story. Woohoo, email me, he said.
I sure will.
Okay, cool.
So,
how do we find you, Deb?
What? Oh,
tell everyone how to find you, girl.
Okay, so you can find me, Debbie Goetz Media Connections on Facebook, at Debbie_Goetz on Twitter.
What's the website, girl?
www.dgmediaconnections.com. And I'm also on Google Plus and Instagram and all.
Well, everything links from the website, right?
Yep.
So as long as they go to dgmediaconnections.com, they can find you. And if they follow you here on Blab or on Twitter, got it covered.
Yep. And also, especially, you were talking about gifts, Jamie. I have a special gift for everybody that participated that you want to share.
Oh, look at you. So Debbie is offering to give out a tip sheet of all of these things that she's shared today in one nice little PDF. So I'm guessing the best way to do it would be, how do you want to do it? Want them to email me or you?
Sure.
Okay.
If it's easier for you, they can just email me. It's dgetz@dgmediaconnections.com. You can put that down there? Or do you want
Okay. dgetz@dgmediaconnections?
Yeah, and I'll put some of the information together in a PDF and send it out to everybody.
All right, that's awesome.
Okay. Thank you
if you want to stay in touch with all of my guests on Blab, you just follow me on Blab and connect with me on Twitter, and you'll find out all about it. Each month, I feature one Inner Circle member as our guest on Blab, and then other Inner Circle or virtual members can join in on camera, like Kristen did, and Patty and Joanne. And we also I do one Blab a month with a VIP So next month in February, we're going to have Subi Zimmerman come on and talk about Instagram. And in March, we have John Jantz of Duct Tape Marketing. In April, Natalie McNeil of She Takes on the World and the Conquer Club. And in May, Carol Roth, who wrote The Entrepreneur Equation, who is now on CNBC. So we have quite a lineup of guests coming on, which I am so excited about. So the Inner Circle and virtual members literally get to come on camera and ask questions directly to them. It's like unprecedented access. So Kristen, you were talking about when we were on the Blab where I had Michael Port as the VIP guest. You were thrilled because you were able to ask questions directly to him. And so was Jen Gardella. She was like asking him one-on-one questions, which you can't even do. It's like
it's fantastic.
Private consulting, right?
And I take advantage of all this stuff.
Absolutely.
All the time. You just have to hit the X when you want somebody else to come in, because I'll ask 9,000 questions.
Good.
That's how I've learned everything. I was supposed to be a teacher. And now I'm learning marketing, PR. It's all good. It's all good stuff.
Yeah.
This is the way to do it.
Carol Roth put out an email to follow her. She put out an email earlier this week looking for motivational quotes to include in a post in a blog of hers, I think. So I don't know if any other Network Now members follow her or on her mailing list, but I know Carol tries to put opportunities out there for Jamie's connections as well. Did you see that, Jamie?
No. I'm not sure what you're talking about.
Carol Roth, if you get her emails, she had an email out.
Well, I follow her on Twitter.
Okay, well, it was a call for motivational quotes. So if you Carol, she had sent out an email about that. So you can.
Okay. Yeah, a lot of her blog posts are like collaborative things of people that follow her. She just throws everyone's stuff together into one big blog post. Yeah, it's cool. Well, you guys have the ability to write guest blog posts on networknowconnections.com's blog. So send it over, girls. I'll get it up there for you and promote it.
Any particular topics you're looking for?
Well, relevant to the audience of women entrepreneurs, right? So yours is easy, Debbie. Kristen would have to finagle how maybe a good topic for you, Kristen, would be how you have to think about running a nonprofit as if you're running a business.
Or
very good.
Adversity.
Yeah. Something like that, off the top of my head.
I actually have one I'm working on about expecting greatness. I started it for having high expectations for blind kids, and then it evolved into business owners should have high expectations of themselves and their business, which is actually what Sue Geyer had me start 2 years ago for this nonprofit, how we jumped from, 120,000 to $1 million in 4 years. So,
wow. Yeah, that's
I'll finish
awesome.
that one up for you.
Okay. Yeah, Lisa is asking what kind of gift she can bring to the station and what topic she could possibly write about. As far as the topic, you could do how to have multiple revenue streams, right? Because we're creating a product now, Lisa, right?
Mm-hmm.
We're going to be in Pottery Barn before you know it, 2017 girl.
Yes,
and then
something to do with creativity, how to unleash your creativity, or
there you go.
Something.
That's good too. How to unleash your creativity. Yeah.
Yeah, so she's a creative person, so maybe how to unleash your creativity to enhance your business, something like that. Like,
yeah.
How do you pull from your artistic and creative talents? How do you channel that into running a business?
Right. Or even just how a creative person becomes a business person.
Yeah. Maybe what your challenges were, what you learned from the experience.
I like it. I like it a lot. By accident. Oh, funny. You're a riot, Lisa. Do you want to come on camera, Lisa, before we close out?
Come on, Lisa.
I'll hop off.
No way, no how.
Thanks for having me on. I'll hop off.
All right.
See ya.
All right. So I put in my website. If you guys want to find out about my 50-state initiative, networknowconnections.com. We are looking for women who are super rock star entrepreneurs who are motivated to help others, interested in learning, want publicity, want to grow their connections. Networknowconnections.com. Schedule a call with me and we can talk about how I can help your business. And Debbie Goetz, my guest today, it's dgmediaconnections.com. Woo!
You get you noticed.
So if you want her tip sheet about everything she covered today, just send an email to dgoetz, DGOETZ, at dgmediaconnections.com, and we'll get that tip sheet out to you. And you can follow us on Twitter, Blab, and so on and so forth. Until next time, over and out. Debbie, you have to watch this back and check out your lighting, girl.
Yeah, well, this was a last minute thing. My lighting was all good when it was working on Skype. So next time.
Worked out great. Thank you.
Thanks for the opportunity.
Bye.
Bye, guys.